Welcome to the High Vibration Reset. I'm your host, Ciara Conlon, and my aim with this podcast is to remind you that you always have choice, that you can reset in any moment and change how you think, how you feel, and how you respond. In this episode, I interviewed Daphne Kostova. Daphne is a certified holistic nutritionist and a hormone balancing weight loss coach for women over 40. So Daphne helps women to balance their hormones and says that we can live symptom-free in perimenopause and menopause. And the part I liked best was that she said that this eat less, move more is a load of bull. Now, they're my words, not hers. So if you've been lacking energy, feeling a bit sluggish, bloated, have a few extra pounds around the middle, you're definitely going to enjoy this episode. But before I introduce you to Daphne, I want to remind you that this is the last call for the Life Flow Coaching Accelerator. Now, the Accelerator is my coaching group for women who are feeling depleted, overwhelmed, maybe doubting their life decisions, and procrastinating on creating the life that they would love. It's for women who feel totally exhausted and maybe even close to burnout. Now, I've designed it to give you the support and the tools for you to reset your mindset, reset your nervous system and your emotional state, and give you the clarity to help you refocus on your goals and create much more ease and flow in your life. You'll find a link below with all the details. And now let's get into the episode. Daphne, you're so welcome on the High Vibration Reset. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So can we start, Daphne? Can you share a little bit about your journey into nutrition and what led you to be interested in hormone health?
Yes, of course. So my journey started quite early. I'm not going to start with the very beginning because it's going to be a very long conversation. But I can tell you I've had many hormonal imbalances, symptoms of hormonal imbalances myself. And it's been quite a long journey. So the first time when I really realized that something was off was when I had hypothalamic amenorrhea that happened in my 20s. That is a lack of period due to overexercising and undereating or undereating. In my case, it was both. And
Wow.
so that was the first time when I realized that something is off. And I did practice restricted diets, over-exercising, and those were the reasons why I was experiencing hypothalamic amenorrhea at the time. And with time, such imbalances can actually, if they're not addressed, if we don't address the symptoms, this can turn into something bigger. In my case, in my early to mid 30s, I started experiencing perimenopausal symptoms. And this is quite early. It's not the typical timing when women have perimenopausal symptoms. Yes, it's true that I went through 2 pregnancies in the meantime. Life got busy. I admit, I had poor stress management. And I really didn't know how to care for myself optimally. And I experienced fatigue, so very low energy, weight gain. I'm talking about symptoms in my early to mid 30s. I had brain fog. I had extreme night sweats to the point that I had to change the bedding. Um, and bloated belly, brain fog. I really didn't feel like myself.
I said
And
there's a lot of women nodding their heads as you say all of those symptoms.
yes, and it came way too early. It really scared me. I also had um, quite extreme hair loss and symptoms of slow thyroid function as well. Although I was never diagnosed with um, hypothyroidism, it did show on the blood work at one point. Unfortunately, it takes the medical system a long time to actually start paying attention. And for a resilient body that and mine was able and capable to take in so much for so long without actually showing it on the blood work that something was off, that I really felt very far from my optimal for a very long time. So um, there was this huge disconnect. Every time I would see my doctor, he would invite me to do blood work, and I would run blood work. And he would say, well, you tell me you're losing hair and your energy is very low, but it looks fine. Your blood work, my patients, I remember him telling me, my patients would be so lucky to have your blood work. and I and I really didn't feel good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so lots of frustration. I started gaining weight, which is also a symptom, perimenopausal or menopausal symptom. And he would tell me to eat less and exercise more. And deep inside, I knew, and this was something that an advice that I was given in my 20s as well as in my 30s. And I knew in my 30s this no longer was working for me, and it was not a sound advice for me. And just like many women, I felt like something is wrong with me. It's just me. No one else is like me. I have a slow metabolism. My body doesn't respond. And that's just how things are. Yeah. So
Very.
I took it upon myself to start making changes. After experiencing perimenopausal symptoms, I signed myself into holistic nutrition. I went back to college
Good.
after two kids. um, and I graduated with honors. I started nourishing my body, healing myself, and I saw incredible results. My energy came back, my hair stopped falling. Um, I reversed all of my symptoms. I started seeing clients. In practice, I worked at the time at a naturopathic clinic nearby, and then I moved on towards virtual afterwards, the way I do my work right now in the Hormone Balance Solution. And it's been an incredible journey.
Mm,
I've learned that all of these symptoms can be naturally reversed through
that's the
nutrition,
fascinating thing.
lifestyle. Yes. And I just I couldn't understand throughout the process, how is it possible that women don't know about this? Why is it that I'm an intelligent person? You know, I have a BA in international business. How is it that I don't have the access to the knowledge right away? It was really interesting for me, I remember.
I think it's because it's not relevant to our lives. So we only learn it when we need to know it. Like you, I couldn't believe that this was happening to women before it started to happen to me because we don't speak about it. It's not a subject that, it's becoming more mainstream and we're talking about it more and we're talking about menopause at work and things like that. But I think that's part of the problem up to now. But Daphne, so you mentioned a couple of the symptoms that you experienced. Are these the most common symptoms of hormone imbalance?
For many women, they are. Yes, the most common symptoms are low energy, weight gain, bloated belly, brain fog, mood swings, and loss of patience, feeling emotional, anxiety, even depression can be symptoms. Yes. Mhm.
How do we know that it is? hormones, because they're also normal life symptoms. Yeah, and not everybody gets all of them. So how do we know? And like you, that was difficult for you because you started to get the symptoms very early.
Yes, and it's hard to identify them because no one talks in their 30s about perimenopausal symptoms. Um, well, it doesn't hurt to speak to a holistic practitioner. I absolutely believe in prevention, and I think it should be really practiced on a much wider scale. But what I do is I ask women questions, and I usually know as soon as I ask them what a typical day of theirs is like, how many hours of sleep do they get? um what does their energy feel like, if they're to give me a number from 1 to 10? How does their stress feel like? I don't ask them how much stress do you have. So many of us are so accustomed to our stress that we don't even think we're stressed anymore. Oh, it's just, normal.
Life. Yeah.
But yeah, but it's often not. And what our perception of stress is what is important for me. Because even if logically you can't explain where your stress is coming from and you feel like, oh, I should be fine. If you feel like you're overthinking everything, you're anxious all the time, your mood is low, and you feel like every little task is a bit too much. And if I put you next to, that's a question I ask my clients often. If I put you next to your two best friends and you witness something traumatic, considered traumatic, are you going to be the one who is the most impacted by that? And often, especially from women who are symptomatic, I would hear, yeah, that would probably be me. I would be overthinking it and thinking about it for a long time. And sometimes I do get an answer, no, I actually would be the one who supports the others to overcome whatever we've seen or experienced. And that also actually can be a person who needs support because she's the person with the broad
Right.
shoulders who is supporting everyone and is always the strong one. And unfortunately, women like this wait until the last moment to look after themselves
True.
because they always feel that somebody else is of bigger or something else is of bigger priority.
Yeah, looking after everybody before their own needs. That's quite typical in women, isn't it? But you talk about, Daphne, in your work about living symptom free. So are you saying that if we, do the right things, which you can tell us about in a moment, that we can actually not have any of these hormonal symptoms?
Yes, yes.
Wow.
And that's the good news. You
Wow.
can absolutely live symptom free. And I am not saying this lightly. I'm saying this after years of experience, having helped hundreds of women rem- um, greatly improve or completely remove the perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms naturally through nutrition, a lifestyle, nervous system support, metabolic support. It is absolutely possible.
Sounds amazing. So, and this is, without the very popular hormone replacement treatment.
Yes, yes. So what I do in my practice is I welcome all women who I know I can help. I do a complimentary discovery call um, so that I can get to know the woman that who is interested in my help. And on this call, I share with her if I believe I can help her, because I know as soon as I have a conversation with her, um, if I can help her. So women who come to me are not taking HRT, most of them, and some of them I do have quite a few women that I've worked with over the years who come to me who already are taking HRT. And I help both. And it's very important to know that even if a woman is taking HRT, that doesn't mean that she now has guaranteed herself a symptom-free life and feeling her best. Actually, I work with a very renowned OBGYN, hormone doctor in my area who sends me his clients because prescribing HRT, in his case, a bioidentical HRT, BHRT, is not a guarantee that a woman will feel her best and thrive. So HRT does not address gut health. It does
Mm.
not address metabolic health. And if a woman has gained weight, HRT is not going to address that. If her energy is low, and we know how important it is to live with optimal energy, HRT is not going to be a big help with that.
That was
And
the question as well that I was going to ask you. Like, are we at risk? And I take HRT, so I'm all for it. But are we at risk of masking other problems? So for a lot of women, when they take it, they think that's the solution to everything. But as you say, it's not going to help with weight gain. It's not going to help your gut health. You know, it helps in some areas, but what are we risking?
but not in all. Yes. Um, you're risking a lot.
Mm,
If you only are going to rely on HRT, you're risking a lot because um, I don't mind when a woman tells me I'm taking HRT. It's her choice. It's your personal choice. And nowadays, research shows, as much as we know with what research has concluded so far, that um, HRT is fairly safe. And so um, I more so am concerned of how this woman is looking after her overall health.
whole health.
So,
Yeah.
yes, and I talk about this in the free master class, which I've provided you the link with, and you will share in the notes for those who are interested. I share the 4 pillars of hormone and metabolic health that we really need to support and address in order to live our best lives without symptoms and support not just hormonal imbalances, but our overall health as well. Because living symptom free also means that we need to address inflammation. We need to lower inflammation, and because we all know that inflammation is a precursor to most degenerative diseases and cancers, and we want to have it under control. It also fuels symptoms of perimenopause and menopause.
Okay.
And so we need to support the 4 pillars. Those are gut, adrenals, liver, and thyroid. And as you see, HRT cannot support those, right? It's not, that's not what it does. So we need to look at hormone balance and metabolic health from the foundations. Yes, HRT can be very helpful for some women. Um, a woman can live symptom free without it, by the way, and really thrive. Yes, usually women come to me because they don't want to go that route, whether they have the BRCA gene or history of breast cancer in the family, for example, and they don't want to go near hormones. Women can live without symptoms without taking HRT. But for women who take HRT, this is another level of, or rather, this is the foundational support that you want to ensure so that you really live symptom free. And you're supported from the foundations.
So, where do we start? Is it gut health?
Gut health is one of the priorities, absolutely. So, supporting yourself through, I practice personalized nutrition for women so that all nutritional needs are addressed according to a woman's a blood work. That's what I do in my practice to make sure that there are no nutritional deficiencies because poor gut health, yes, it is absolutely foundational. Um, Gut health overall is important so that we know that we are absorbing the nutrients from the foods that we're eating because these nutrients are going to nourish the organs and glands that are in charge of hormonal balance. Does that make sense? Yeah, and that is absolutely foundational. If I am to give you an example, the thyroid gland, for example, which the thyroid gland is a butterfly shaped gland right here on our neck. It's situated on the inside of our neck. And so the thyroid needs specific nutrients in order to support us. And this is the gland of our metabolism, right? We all want to be strong and fit and energized, right? This is an incredible um, um, well-being standard and precursor to well-being, and we need to support thyroid health. The thyroid is very specific when it comes to what nutrients it needs in order to produce thyroid hormone, in order to convert inactive to active thyroid hormone. And so how do we get these nutrients? You can't out supplement poor gut health. You can't out diet poor gut health. We need to support gut health first and nourish the body and eat the foods once we have supported digestion. Know how to eat to get these nutrients that the thyroid needs in order to support us and work for us optimally. And this doesn't pertain only to the thyroid. Our adrenals need nutrients. The liver needs nutrients to um, do its detox processes efficiently. The gut needs the foods that will feed the good gut bacteria. So everything is connected. We're all one with all these glands and organs that are helping us get there.
So, are you saying, Daphne, you say you can't out supplement? Are you saying that we have to get the nutrients from our food and not our supplements?
That is correct.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I also recommend supplements. I also support my clients with vitamins, minerals, and herbs. Um, and they're helpers. They help them to temporarily get back in balance before they can rely again on nutrition. And there are certain supplements that it's a great idea to take them longer term just because excuse me, just because they they're not we don't get enough of them from our food. But overall, I don't like over supplementing my clients. I don't like women having to take 10 different supplements every day. And frankly, none of my clients does this because it's not sustainable. Do you see yourselves taking 15, 20 different pills every day? I don't think it's sustainable. I use them as helpers. So if a client comes to me and we discover, let's say she has um, and a lot of women don't know, and I help them learn. Let's say we discover that she has a sluggish thyroid function, and she's not converting her inactive thyroid hormone into the active form of thyroid hormone. Then I put her on a protocol. Just as an example, I put her on a protocol to help her with this conversion. She doesn't have to stay on this protocol forever. The point is, in the meantime, while she's supporting gut health, she's eating for hormone and metabolic health, she will be supporting this conversion naturally through nutrition and gut that now is capable of digesting the foods and getting the nutrients from food.
Okay.
And she'll be able to let go of that protocol at one point when she's ready. And she'll be ready to go and do this on her own and know exactly what to do to support hormonal balance and metabolic.
So are you saying that protocol is a combination of a diet and supplements to get her to a certain stage?
That's exactly right.
Yeah, yeah. So is there a particular diet, let's say, that supports all of your glands, your adrenals, your thyroid, your liver? Is there particular foods or, supplements that we can take that helps everything?
Um, hmm, wouldn't it be easy if that was the
Mm.
case?
Exactly, Daphne, exactly.
Let me know if you hear from someone who uses the same method on different people and they all get beautiful results. No, that's not how we
Let me
approach.
down gently.
Yes. Oh, believe me, I don't want to let you down. But the reality is, um, we all need a slightly different approach. It really depends on where a woman is at when she comes to me. And this is why I do personalized nutrition based on blood work. We nourish according to what's needed. And then we start adding variety because nothing works if it's too rigid. We want to have fun. We want to enjoy life. We want to live a full life. And yes, in the beginning, we need to have a little more focused approach and target what needs to be targeted. But at the end of the day, we want to get to a place where we're not taking 10 different, 15 different supplements. We know exactly how to eat, how to place boundaries, how to support our nervous system, how to build the daily habits that will keep us now that we've reached our goals and we live symptom free, that will keep us nourished, supported, energized, thriving, and to keep going like this. We want to know how to get there, how to implement that. So that's actually the biggest piece of the puzzle that a lot of women I find um, don't understand, and they think, well, just tell me how to lose the weight. I hear this a lot, or just tell me what supplements to take. But even if I tell you that, you cannot build habits from one tip. You you need to understand what works, why it works. It's almost like going through a course of education on you and your body over 40, over 50, because what worked in your 20s and 30s, pushing through things and um, applying restrictions and running and doing over exercising, it doesn't work for us anymore. And I got to experience this at a much earlier age than most, but it's the reality for all of us, no matter when we uh, experience perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms. So really it comes down to a personalized approach at first, understanding where your Achilles' heel or heels are, because we as women have tendencies. My tendency is to push myself and push my limits. Others have different tendencies, and it takes someone to show us where we need to be a little more careful, need a little more support. And it can be so easy once we understand what that
Identify,
is,
yeah.
support it, get into a rhythm, start implementing, become consistent, figure out that consistency is what we need. It's not the intensity, it's not some extreme measures.
Small
It's actually,
changes that all
yes,
add up. Yeah.
exactly. And it's in your line of work too, the fabulous work that you do with women, um, getting them organized and empowered. It's the day, you know how it's the daily habits that make the biggest difference. It's not some you know um
Radical change or yeah, yeah. Uh,
exactly.
most cases, it's the small little tweaks, but done consistently that give us the results. Daphne, inflammation. So you mentioned inflammation there. It seems that we're hearing a lot more of ailments that are caused by inflammation, or inflammation is a symptom of ailments. So things like IBS or Crohn's, or they all have an element of inflammation. So are they all coming from the same source, or what's going on there in our body that there seems to be so many ailments people are suffering from that have this element?
Yes, yes. And thank you for this question. And I see this all the time. Often women who come to me to help them with perimenopausal or menopausal symptoms, sluggish metabolism and weight gain, they also have some of these conditions. Um, and inflammation can be a system, and it also can be a symptom. So it really depends how early we've addressed it. It's in the cases of IBS, Crohn's, that you mentioned, it's now become a system. And in the cases of autoimmune conditions, and it can trigger itself. And so that doesn't mean that we cannot put these conditions in remission. And the same things that help support hormonal balance, metabolic health, gut health are also foundational and very helpful for such conditions as well. Now, I am not a specialist in Crohn's. I can tell you, though, from the perspective of what I do in my practice supporting women 40 plus, 50 plus, and beyond, um, towards improving metabolic health, reversing perimenopausal and menopausal symptoms, I do talk to them about inflammation, and I tell them exactly what we're doing and why we're doing it to support it. And here's what I tell them. Now, most of my clients come to me for weight loss as well, because as I mentioned, it's one of the symptoms of hormonal imbalances and metabolic imbalances. And a good indicator that can show you that you have inflammation is your waistline.
Hmm.
So when a woman measures her waistline, if your waistline is over 33, 34 inches, I believe was the mark. If it's reached that size, or it's bigger than that, this means we have visceral fat. The more we pack around the waist, the more visceral fat we carry. So that's the fat that wraps around the organs and it causes inflammation. And it will fuel other things. It will, so it is a precursor to um, cardiovascular issues. Many women who come to me already have high blood pressure, high cholesterol, sometimes high triglycerides, and they see those conditions go away. Isn't that amazing? By addressing fat around the waist. That's the troublesome fat, the visceral fat. This is no longer about vanity. It's not about how
Mm.
our clothes fit us and get that perfect bikini body. It's not about that at all. Now it's about health. and longevity, lifespan, quality of life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what about stress then? Where does stress come into all of this? Does it negatively impact our hormones and other parts of our health, which we're hearing a lot about, that stress is the culprit for a lot of things going on in our health these days?
Yes, yes, absolutely. And who isn't stressed? So, this is also something to acknowledge. Stress management is absolutely crucial. Nervous system regulation, very important. And it's it's not separate from what's happening, the other things that we spoke about. Actually, cortisol, um, let's call it the main stress hormone. It's not the only one, but let's call it the main stress hormone. Cortisol is one of the foundational hormones. So, uh, what I call the foundational hormones, those are insulin and cortisol. Insulin is the blood sugar hormone. That's the hormone that makes us gain weight. And cortisol is the stress hormone. And cortisol can actually trigger insulin, and it can lead to weight gain, and it can lead to other hormonal symptoms when it's triggered all the time. Um, and for that reason, stress management is absolutely crucial. And often women think of stress management as, I need to work a little less. I need to go on a vacation a little more often. And that can be very helpful. Absolutely. However, um, we get a stress response when we don't eat enough. We get a stress response when we don't eat right, when we don't have a balanced plate with all the macronutrients on it in a healthy proportions. We trigger stress when we um, overthink things, when we trigger stress when we have unresolved trauma, things that are eating us on the inside that we're not capable of letting go of. This can also be a trigger. So we need to look at things in a much more comprehensive way. Stress is a huge factor. It is a foundational hormone. Cortisol is a foundational hormone, and we need to support it through nutrition, lifestyle, um, um, nervous system regulation, and really understand that we need all of that dialed in. It's not just taking a day off that is going to address our stress. And I'll give you a quick example. So this can be understood in practice. Um, Typically, I do a follow-up call with my clients after about a week after they get started on the program. And we're talking about a week. It's a very small period of time, right?
Mhm.
And within that time, they haven't really made changes in terms of stressors in their lives. They have the same stressors, the same job, the same family. Um, that has not changed. But they come to see me a week to 7 to 9 days after they've started, and they tell me, I don't know why, but I feel calmer. I just feel calmer. It's the same life I'm living. It's, I do things differently because of your recommendations. But I don't know why, but I feel calmer. And the answer to that is nutrition,
Mhm.
sometimes sleep when I've told them they need to be in bed a little
Yeah.
bit earlier. Or I've supported sleep. I've helped them support sleep. It makes a difference almost instantaneously within 7 to 9 days. So it's not just our emotional stress or mental stress or work stress. We need to really look into what we put in our bodies, the boundaries we have as well, what we say no to, what we eliminate is very important. And all of that makes a huge difference.
Yes, no, it does. Now, but what we've been talking about, I suppose there's a lot in what we've mentioned. And it can be quite overwhelming to be thinking about making these changes. So, what would be your advice? What are the small little things that we can do for ourselves
Oh my.
to start
Um,
that process of change?
I like what you just said. And I want to challenge everyone who's listening to this call, because yes, it's so daunting to make changes. But let me tell you this: what is more daunting, living with symptoms or finding a way to get rid of them? And what if that way is actually simpler than what you were doing before? And that was what stopped me to make changes myself for over a decade. And I ended up with early perimenopausal symptoms because of that, because of the fear of the new or the change. And it's so daunting to think that you're not going to have banana bread with coffee, for example, in the afternoon. And oh my gosh. Um, and you absolutely can have your banana bread with coffee. I'm just using this example that I heard recently.
You were watching me yesterday, were you, with my banana
Oh,
bread and coffee?
I guess it's a popular thing.
It is
But
indeed.
yeah, and you absolutely can have and enjoy your treat once you've supported gut health and you no longer react to such foods. Um, it's not about extreme restrictions. So I hope women start thinking a little bit more, start become a little bit more open minded, and actually consider that change can make things easier and not harder. And I tell this to my clients all the time before they get started. We're not going to add hours to your day. We're actually going to give you some time back, believe it or not. Because often, because I work with women who are very they're busy, they're professional women, they either run their businesses, they carry many different hats, and they're afraid that they cannot handle more. But what they realize is that they actually now have to do less and feel better as a result. So please consider that, to anyone listening. That is the reality of
Yeah. And if there's just one thing, so if somebody was only prepared to make one change, do one thing,
it.
what would you advise?
Start with blood sugar regulation. So start your day with a healthy breakfast 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up. Hydrate with water. Don't underestimate the power of daily hydration. And after you've hydrated, within 60 to 90 minutes, have a beautiful, well balanced breakfast. Include all the macronutrients in it: proteins, carbs, healthy fats. Start your day right. That way, you're supporting blood sugar as well as cortisol regulation, the foundational hormones that you need to get in balance to support your metabolism hormones and your sex hormones and feel your best.
That sounds doable. That sounds manageable. Have a good breakfast. I can do that. No, and but it's for a lot of people, maybe they don't, when we don't have the symptoms, we don't see as much the need to look after ourselves. It's more when there's a problem that people seek out somebody like you. Whereas, as you say, if we can prevent a lot of ailments, if we can prevent it becoming a problem, obviously that's what we want to do. We want to manage our weight and our health and our hormones as best we can. And Daphne, you mentioned a free masterclass. Is that's you said you'll we'll put the link below here in the podcast to that. Does that address how we can look at balancing the hormone? That's what that is it?
That's correct. So that's where we start. Understanding what it takes to achieve hormonal and metabolic health and balance. And I will provide you with the link to share in your podcast notes, to share with anyone who is interested to understand the big picture.
Very good.
And there will be a prompt inside. If anyone is interested to inquire further, they can reach out to me after they watch the masterclass. I also will give all of your listeners discount this month of $200 off the Hormone
Wow.
Balance Solution Program.
That's very kind of you. Thank you very much. So yes, you do
Well,
free assessments with clients.
that's correct.
Yeah, yeah, which that can be very useful for people just to see if, yeah, what you're doing
Yes.
is
Yes, it's very it's a no pressure call. It's simply to assess and for a woman to understand what is possible for her. And if and honestly, I want to see if I can help her. And I only say that I can help when I know I can help. And she gets to understand what is possible for her, how long it may take approximately, what is involved, and just really more
great.
in depth.
And to
Yes.
be heard, just so that, to have somebody qualified like you to listen to what's going on, to see, if where the issues you think are coming from. So that's great. Listen, Daphne, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. Really appreciate what you do. And yeah, as we said, we'll share all the notes for people to get in touch with you. And yeah, we wish you a fabulous year of helping much more women become fully healthy and balanced.
Thank you so much, Ciara. It's such a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you for having me here and helping bring awareness into this. So
Fantastic.
much is possible as long as we if we feel uncomfortable, if we want to change, change is possible. And the more women we know this and truly believe in this, I believe we're making a difference.
Absolutely. And that's a great place to end. Change is possible, people. So keep the hope, keep the faith. Thank you so much.
Caitlin, you're so welcome.
So thanks for listening in to this episode. Just a reminder, all the links are below to find out more about Daphne. And remember that if you are feeling overwhelmed or close to burnout, you can book a free call with me to see if I can help you and if the Life Flow Accelerator is a good fit for you. So if you want to create a year of calm, confident control, the accelerator can help you get there. So make sure you're following the high vibration reset on whatever platform you're listening on, and have a wonderful inner day.